we're here with one of the most unique, talented artists I found this con.
So say my name?
Yeah, you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Justin Orr, and if you see me at conventions, I usually go by the name justcope.com, which is my website. You can find all my work. You know, I'm an illustrator and animator, and I've worked in everything from video games to commercials and, you know, social games, web stuff. Been at it for a while, since about 1999 or so.
Wow, how did you start?
Actually, as a little kid, I got into comic books. You know, my cousin had a collection, and you know, I'd go thumb through there and pull out my favorite stuff and try and copy my favorite artists. So that's kind of where it all started, where I went this direction. But there's a lot of art in my family.
Okay. Like, who are some of your favorite artists?
Oh,
I know we talked a little bit yesterday about that.
Yeah, you know, when I first began, it was guys like George Perez, you know, guys who I met at the convention who were really nice to me, that, you know, as a kid, you remember that kind of stuff. And then, you know, later on, Will Eisner was like a huge influence. Also, you know, guys like Jack Davis, who drew Mad Magazine, some more obscure stuff, like there was this magazine called Cartoons, which is all about automotive cartoons, and there were a couple artists in there that I really like, Sean Carey and this other guy. His name was Nogueira, but Rogerio Nogueira, like the MMA fighter, another guy who influenced me, really cartoony style. You know, and then the other guys like Kirby, I love Jack Kirby, Frank Miller, you know, standard guys.
Well, talking about Frank Miller, I bought Frank from you this amazing Batman, which is really laid out, very type heavy. You told me you have a background in graphic design, right?
Actually, I do. It's kind of, when I went to school at San Francisco State, there was an animation emphasis there, but I wasn't so sure I could get work as a guy who draws. You know, it's kind of that thing. You're going to do art, you're not going to make a living. So I went to graphic design, and on the way out, you know, it was kind of like, well, I'm a guy who draws, I better take their animation emphasis. So when I graduated, all the work I ended up getting was drawing work, and I figured out that I could make a living as a guy who draws as opposed to being a graphic design guy, which wasn't the thing I wanted.
Making a business card here and there.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that in the first place, so my degree ended up being in graphic design with an emphasis in animation. So, you know, I have the graphic design eye, but at the same time I can really draw.
Oh yeah, your prints here are just very, you can tell there's graphic design involved, and you like type. You like animation, you're wearing, what is that, Rugrats?
Oh no, that's Hey Arnold.
Okay, I'm bad with modern cartoons. Do you have a modern animation that you're like, oh my god, that's the best animation I've ever seen in my life?
Well, I'm a huge Venture Brother fan, you know, but it's, I mean, not only is the design really cool, but those guys are really good writers, and that's, you know, it makes it interesting. It covers all the nerd stuff that I grew up on, you know, from 80s cartoons to even obscure, like, references to music, you know.
Right. Like, I love that David Bowie episode in the first season.
Yeah.
And I love the fake Fantastic Four one.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they, you know, even if you hadn't read that stuff, they make it new. And for guys, you know, older guys like me, when you see that stuff, you geek out about it.
Cool. Yeah. So what's the process like? Let's talk about Batman. Did you sketch that out? Did you Photoshop it, or?
Yeah, well, it's kind of one of those things when I'm doing you know, a piece. I use the computer more so like another medium. So, you know, I'll come up with an initial drawing, you know, I'll sketch it out, I'll ink it, then I scan it into the computer. You know, sometimes there's stuff where I'll just go at it with the Prism color and color it that way. But the piece you got, it was something that, you know, I colored digitally. Then I went back in and put a halftone, you know, kind of, you know, shadow pattern on it, just to get that old comic booky effect. Because it was also a tribute to the guys who I idolized, like Frank Miller and Will Eisner, you know, with the text, you know.
Right. Well, you have a Spider-Man print also that shows kind of very Will Eisner spirit stuff.
Yeah, actually, you know, Will Eisner, his comics and sequential art book was like my Bible as a kid. And the first time I went out to Comic-Con was specifically to meet him. And so a buddy of mine came with me to this, you know, talk he was doing in one of the halls. We staged the whole thing. So when you go up to shake his hand, lean over and take a picture. So he took that picture, and then Will passed away the next year. So I have that over my desk where I draw it. It's like, I got there just in time.
At least you got to meet him.
I did, and it was cool. I got to talk to him a little bit and tell him how much, you know, he influenced me. And he said, well, you're a working professional? I said, well, I'm an in-betweener at an animation studio. And he goes, well, you're getting there, man. He said, keep it up. And, you know, those are the kind of things you never forget. And you're a big kid, even if you're an adult at that time, you know.
And you got a little funny story about the Watchmen prints. You told me about.
Yeah. Actually, I got two.
Oh, you got two?
Yeah, I didn't get to tell you my Rorschach story, right?
No.
No, like, well, the first one happened at WonderCon. A woman came by and she picked up my Rorschach prints and she motioned like, oh, come here, there's something I want to tell you. She flipped her badge around and it turned out it was Jackie Earl Haley's wife who played Rorschach in the movie. And she goes, I'm gonna make them put these in my office.
Nice.
Nerd moment. But the big one was at Comic-Con on Sunday in the last hour. A fella came by the end of the table and he said, oh, I was passing by and I wanted to tell you how much I like your Watchmen stuff. I look over and it's Dave Gibbons who drew the book, and you know, it's geek out moment.
Hey, so that's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time.
Hey, thank you, guys.
Looking forward to more work. And where can people find your work at?
Justscope.com. That's JUSSCOPE.com, or justscope.blogspot.com, where you can find my new book, which just came out at Comic-Con this past July.
Cool. And you're on Facebook and all that.
On Facebook, you know, look me up.
Cool. Thank you again.
Right on. Hey.